All right, so today I have laid out a couple of different stabilizers I have in the studio. These are all kind of based on the same design. There are other stabilizers out there kind of shaped like the Merlin. I don't want to get into that right now because this video will last all day. So really quickly, I have the Flycam Nano, as you know, and then the Glidecam HD 1000. And here is the original Skyler Mini, and here's the new Skyler MiniCam. Um, and this I'm just showing you as an example of some of the features that the MiniCam comes with. I also have larger stabilizers like the HD 4000, some of the big Steadicam vests and stuff, but I use these quite a bit. And the only reason I keep the Flycam and HD 1000 around right now, I still use them, but I get a lot of questions about it, so I keep them handy in case I have to answer some questions. But really, this Skyler MiniCam does a lot of what I need, and I'll explain kind of why this one works really well. It is a higher price, and so some of these features you guys may not need, and it may not be worth buying. To be honest, I can balance any of these stabilizers, and I feel like I get the same results, and I can kind of handle them the same way. As far as flying, they all fly similarly. So once you have any of these balanced, you'll probably pretty much get the same performance. Now, getting the system balance is a different story. Also, packing it up, traveling, rebalancing are some of the things that people may want to invest more money in. So anyways, let's kind of get to it. First, the Flycam Nano and the HD 1000. Very similar stabilizers. As you can see, the Flycam Nano is a little bit shorter, breaks down a little bit smaller, but they can fly, DSLR standard lenses pretty easily. I balance them, a 5D, a 7D, 24-105 lens. So this handles a little bit of weight. What the Flycam doesn't have is a quick release system. So I've added a quick release here. And the reason why you want a quick release system is so that you can get the camera off when you're packing up. You can put it back on without having to rebalance your system. It should pretty much stay exactly where it's at. It doesn't have fine tuning knobs where you can adjust it easily. This one you kind of loosen up the knobs, you shift the plates, then you tighten it back up again. And sometimes it's a little trial and error because you could shift it too far or shift it too little. And then you have to go through a series of loosening and tightening up knobs. So it's a little bit trickier to get these balanced. Once you know what to look for, it's pretty simple. Another thing is the telescoping pole on here. A lot of people aren't real happy with the way you have to kind of loosen up and tighten up this knurled knob here. It doesn't hold on so well. And underneath here, the sled comes loose. So let me show you. And this sled comes loose so that you can kind of pack up the system. But one of the problems is a sled like this can shift a little bit, and they'll throw off your balance quite a bit. And it's sometimes hard to lock down. Sometimes I put a lock washer on here just so it doesn't come loose. But this is the way you would pack it up. And again, the sled, if it shifts a little bit to the left or to the right, it's going to throw your balance off quite a bit. So the Glidecam HD 1000, a little bit of a step up. You're going to pay more money. And Glidecam has a couple of different stabilizers. They even have one, I think, called the is it XR or XB or something, and it's pretty much the same stabilizer without fine-tuning knobs. So think of it as a Flycam Nano. Anyways, so if you pay a little bit more on the Glidecam, you have more balancing options. You'll have more fine-tuning knobs where you can kind of dial it in left and right, forward and back, and you're more accurate to getting balance done this way. Here, the telescoping pole, again, this is something a lot of people aren't happy with. There's a clamp knob here, and sometimes you really have to wrench this guy really tight, and it's hard to get tight and loose, so sometimes you have to bring a tool to telescope the pole a little bit. Also, because of the way the telescoping pole is designed, the sled underneath here too can also shift left or right. So when you're packing up your Glidecam and you're trying to reassemble everything together again, it may not be super accurate rebalancing something like this. And as far as a quick release plate goes, This one comes with its own, and so what you do is you just loosen this up, and your camera would be mounted to this plate here, and that's how you would pack up your camera, and when it's time to rebalance, you put it back on here, and it should be good to go. But you will have this plate stuck to the bottom of your camera. If you're using something like Manfrotto tripods, then it's best to kind of get your own quick release plate on here. So that's kind of how that works. And build quality on the Glidecam stuff is going to be better. They do a lot of anodizing and plating, whereas the Flycam is a lot of like, this is actually a sticker on the outside, and then it looks like it's just painted, so it doesn't look good after quite a bit of use. Then we come up to this Skyler MiniCam. This one was really interesting to me because they definitely put a lot of thought and design into this. The Steadicam Merlin is a really good stabilizer. The design is really good, really compact. They have it set up so you can break it down and set it back up without getting into too much trouble rebalancing. But it is a smaller stabilizer with a very sensitive gimbal, and it's a lot more prone to wind, which means that if you're running, even that breeze from running can kind of throw off your balance. So I tend to kind of stick with these because I have a little bit more control over this when I'm flying it. Anyways, so a lot of the features of the Steadicam Merlin are brought into the Skyler MiniCam, and some of those are these weights underneath, where you won't run into problems where the sled shifts. There's no way these weights can shift left or right, but they do break down. You do unscrew these things. Actually, here's one, and this is the new Skyler MiniCam, and they just thread here. So when it comes time to packing it up, you really break this thing down. You put this thing back in, and it's in the exact same spot, and you won't have any trouble rebalancing something like this Skyler MiniCam. It also breaks down a lot smaller than any of these units here. Right now, this Skyler MiniCam has the pole telescope, so this is actually not as compact as it could be. It could be a lot shorter than that. So that's one of the things I liked, is that you could break the unit down, put it back together, and you're not going to run into any trouble rebalancing it. And there's no possible way that any of these weights can shift, much like the Glidecam and the Flycam. And as far as fine tuning goes, you have fine tuning knobs up top here for left and right. And then you also have an adjustment underneath here, which is probably hard to see, but underneath here, you can shift the stage forward and back. It also comes with its own quick release plate. So here, I've removed the plate. You can probably see that now, the adjustment front and back there. So the quick release plate goes on like so. Oh, there you go. And on the back here, there's a thumb knob that will lock it to the top, so it won't accidentally fall off. But then it does have these clamps that you just tighten it up. And this goes on the exact same way every time, so you don't have to rebalance your camera. And like the Glidecam, because this plate has to remain underneath your camera, Skyler provides this, Merlin calls it like a dovetail plate or something, but Skyler provides you with one of these plates as well. And as an example, I have one of those plates installed in this Varavon cage. And what you do is you leave this under your camera, you take it off of the stabilizer, you move it onto this plate, you lock it down. Now your camera's within your cage or your crane or your slider or your tripod or whatever you want to mount your camera to. Then when you want to get back to flying, you disconnect this and then it goes back onto your Skyler. So that's something that the Glidecam or the Flycam doesn't offer you. So another thing that the Skyler has that the Glidecam and Flycam don't have is this fine-tuning adjustment here where you dial in the height of the post. So you can adjust the post up and down by dialing it in. And then there's a lock knob here that keeps it from slipping. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's slotted in this area here. And that slot keeps this pole from rotating left or right. So again, you're not going to have the problem where your sled underneath these stabilizers are going to shift slightly to the left or slightly to the right. All it takes is 1 millimeter, and then you're just kind of off balance again. This one is permanently positioned, and then you just move it straight up and down, so it doesn't rotate. So that's something really nice about the Skyler MiniCam. Now, I really like the Skyler, so I went out and I got the new one. I bought this one used. Come to find out, it didn't have everything that the new one had, so because I was impressed, I decided to just go ahead and get the new one. By the way, I'll sell the old one because I have the new one now. Anyways, the difference between the new one here is not only do you have the adjustment for the post here, up and down, and it has markers here so you can remember where you have it after you're packed up. This one has a threaded mount underneath. For some people, if they want, they can attach a monopod under here so you can kind of keep it on the stabilizer as you're shooting and then just have a monopod when you're stationary. But really, I don't know if I'll use that very much because the quick release plate here is handy already. I can just move it from one to the next to the next. Another thing the new version has that the old one didn't is it's such a small stabilizer. And as you can see, you don't have a lot of lateral movement forward and back on the sled or even left and right. So what they've done is they've added an additional little counterweight here. So if your camera is still too front heavy or back heavy, you have this weight here that you can adjust that will add a little bit more weight to either the back or to the front. So that's one of those fine tuning knobs here. And then on the top, they have the same kind of setup where if your camera stage is already moved all the way to one direction, you could still add a little bit more weight by turning this top counterweight here either to the left or to the right, and you can reverse this or you can move it over to the more to the front. So there's a little bit more fine tuning that you get out of the Skyler MiniCam than you do out of the Glidecam or the Flycam. And again, the post moves up and down, but once you have the weights on here, they won't shift left or right. And that's a problem that some of these stabilizers have, especially if you're going to pack things up and you're going to rebalance. The new Skyler MiniCam does come with its own case. You won't get that with the other stabilizers. It is a lot of foam in here. It's like 2 inches at the top and bottom, maybe 3 inches. It's really padded. It's a well-made bag. It does come with like extra clips. These clips are for the quick release plate on the top. But that's kind of a look at the differences in some of these stabilizers and why you'll probably end up paying more if you want the convenience of packing up smaller, traveling, having the fine-tuning knobs and making it easier to rebalance. But if you're just into the performance of the stabilizers, you can get the same performance out of each one of these, and you can fly them pretty much the same. And it's really up to you if you want to spend the extra money or not. But if you're just doing it as a hobby, you're just doing it every now and then, and you don't need the speed to get set up quickly, something like the Flycam works well, and you can find them for about, I think, $130. Glidecam again has different stabilizers that are somewhere around the $250 to $350 for the real small ones. And then these Skyler MiniCams are going to run you about $600. But compared to some of the other small stabilizers I've seen out there, this one I think is probably the best as far as the smallest stabilizer that's kind of designed sort of like the Glidecam or the Flycam. One of the things that I want to mention though is all the Skylers do have a port underneath the handle, but they don't have the same angle as the Glidecam, so you're not going to be able to adapt this directly to a vest without some sort of kind of bent articulating arm or something. Like you really have to angle this at a sharp angle to clear, you know, your vest if you plan to use something like this with a vest, because even as small as this is, it does get heavy. And you know, I think after just 3 minutes of flying something like this around, you're going to feel it. So a vest is really helpful for supporting weight for longer periods of time. but they don't have a vest for this. I am planning on modifying my Steadicam vest to fit something like this, but I'll have to do it at more of an angle rather than directly up. My Steadicam vest is modified for any of the Glidecams, which works well. And then the Flycam, I don't really use it with a vest at all. It's just small, so that's about it. Hopefully that helps you guys make a decision when you're buying something small, especially if you're looking at these type of stabilizers. The Merlin and everything else like that, the Smoothie, those are also different stabilizers, but I'm not going to get into that right now, and probably in the next video.